reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
Hey everyone, and welcome to our first report on Devilian, an MMO ARPG developed by Bluehole Geno and published by Trion Games. I'm Sammy, and I'll be offering my thoughts on this upcoming game. Note that all footage and commentary is from my alpha playthrough. This is far from a finished product. I'm going to take a look at the game in its current state and see what it's about. After more than a year of release in Eastern markets, such as Korea, Russia, and Thailand, the game is now available in closed beta through Trion's Glyph client. At first glance, the gameplay seems similar to other ARPGs such as Diablo and Path of Exile, while mixing in MMO trappings such as dungeons, raids, quests, and PvP. Overall, the game looks very flashy, and it looks satisfying to destroy hordes of enemies, following the popular trend in other East Asian-oriented games. In the build I looked at, there are 4 classes. Berserker, a warrior archetype that utilizes dual-wielding swords, AoE attacks, debuffing taunts, and a rage energy system. Evoker, which represents the mage archetype, using elemental spells such as chain lightning, fire AoEs, and ice bolts to deal damage and control their enemies. Shadowhunter, which represents the rogue archetype. Using whips and shurikens, they focus on position-based attacks, mobility, and some stealth to deal high damage. Last is the Cannoneer, which is similar to the hunter archetype, but without pets, and instead of a bow, they use gigantic cannons. They deal long-range AoE attacks and can use traps that can debuff or crowd control enemies. They're intended to be a glass cannon. One thing that bothered me when creating a character was the fact that each class is tied to a specific gender and body. I'm not a big fan, especially since many MMOs understand how desirable and profitable character customization is to the free-to-play model. An interesting hybridization in Devilian is with movement. Movement is controlled in the typical MMO fashion by the WASD keys rather than the typical ARPG point-and-click style. This feels more natural and provides more assurance in the location I want my characters to be at. Dodging is also a feature, with a 4-second cooldown, and feels reactive enough to actually be useful in combat. Combat itself is more akin to an ARPG. There's no global cooldown, so skills either generate or expend resource, or they have their own local cooldowns. Groups of enemies are normally found close together, and almost every skill is an AoE. The game encourages you to kite enemies up and blast them with your big hitters. Getting multiple kills also awards small bonus experience to level up your characters. One of the main advertised features of Devilian is Devil Mode. This is a super-powered limit break that provides a new set of powerful skills for a short period of time. These skills are tied to the player's class, so they are similar in functionality and class theme. Devil Mode charge is represented by a meter at the bottom of the screen, showing the amount of time a player is able to transform and stay within Devil Mode. Leveling up is similar to the generic MMO. Questing is very hub-centric, with a lot of kill this, collect that objects. Everything so far is very easy to kill, usually dying within 2 or 3 hits. You get mounts early on, which you can summon to increase movement speed. There's an auto-run feature that works like a taxi, and automatically takes you to the quest area or hub, giving you time to relax and enjoy the scenery while in transit. Speaking of the scenery, the environment is beautiful, and really pulls you into the world. The auto-run feature really enables you to absorb in the territory in between quests or hub transitions. Player progression takes the form of 3 distinct skill trees, each built around a specific type of gameplay. Each one provides a handful of skills with slight augmentations to each one, examples including reduced resource costs, more damage, or additional effects. You may mix and match skills from each skill tree, creating your own unique character that caters towards your own playstyle. You may respect your skill tree anytime out of combat. For examples of skill trees, the Cannoneer class has the Gunslinger, Demolisher, and Opportunist skill trees. The Gunslinger provides skills that are instantly cast with traps that offer minor CC. This promotes a kiting-based playstyle. Demolisher has stationary attacks that become more powerful the longer they are held. It also provides enemy debuffs. This promotes a siege cannon type of playstyle. The Opportunist has traps that offer more utility and CC. They are used in conjunction with big burst attacks also from this tree that works well with ensnared or stationary enemies. This promotes a trapper-based playstyle. For my playthrough, I picked the Cannoneer class because range and high damage appeal to me. Everything died relatively fast, usually within 1 or 2 hits. The only exception to this are bosses, where I needed to kite them while actually paying attention to their attack animations. Devil mode for the Cannoneer class focuses on the class's core concept, long range and heavy damage. Devil mode provides skills that pierces through enemies, a dash that breaks out of CC, and a shot that stuns enemies hit. The dungeons that I played through were straightforward and easy. So far they can be soloed, which I enjoy since I don't always feel like dungeoning with people. I believe there are additional rewards for doing them with the group, but I wasn't able to play through that content. Dungeon boss mechanics are shown and taught prior to the boss fight, which I also enjoy. At the end of each dungeon is a loot roulette that gives additional items like gold, crafting materials, or experience. The amount of spins you get are tied to how well you performed in the dungeon, based on clear speed, damage, and other factors. There is a Talisman System that involves gathering cards and equipping them to provide bonus stats for your character. Some examples include additional physical damage or slight increase to movement speed. There's a set number of talismans you may equip, and you may combine cards to generate a new one. These are given as a drop or quest reward. So far the cash shop is mainly cosmetic, but some items provide a slight boost to stats, such as a 3% additional movement speed. I tried to test if the bonus stats were applied in PvP, but being an alpha meant that there weren't many people queuing up. The costumes and outfits within the cash shop actually look decent, so it might be worth taking a look if you enjoy character customization. There are some really cute pets in the game. They don't offer any combat-related actions, but instead offer quality-of-life features such as auto potion or auto loot. My favorite pet so far is his adorable corgi, and he provides additional inventory space for me. In terms of balance, some classes need a second look. Specifically for the Cannoneer, there are some skills that are glaringly better than others. For example, the piercing shot skill does 243% damage in a long-range straight line. Other skills around the same level, even with their augments, perform 80% to 150% damage. With a cost to damage ratio of piercing shot, there doesn't seem to be any reason to use any other resource spender. I could use some of the short cooldown abilities to slow normal mobs or provide additional damage, but there is no reason to, since piercing shot would kill enemies in 2 or less casts. The only downside is that the 14-meter skill shoots really far, so I would often aggro enemies outside my screen. Besides that nitpick, the class itself is very satisfying to play. I don't feel like I'm hindering my character by mix and matching skill trees. In fact, I feel like I'm able to cover all my bases by doing so. If I'm fighting a big enemy, I can throw out a slow or trap to ensnare him. Then I begin shooting, and at any point I can use a dash or speed buff to continue my barrage if the enemy comes near me. Unfortunately, for as advertised as it is, there isn't a reason to use Devil mode aside from boss fights. But even in those fights, I would rather avoid it and stay in the tempo of the playstyle I learned out in the open world. After spending time to get to the dungeon, never using it, I am very comfortable and very efficient at playing that way. The introduction to Devil mode also didn't really give any reason to use it rather than it's a shiny toy. Since my playthrough, there has been a content patch that added background story as to why you would use Devil mode, so it may be more apparent now. The story and lore seems pretty underdeveloped, but offers a different perspective to the player character's role within the universe. Without spoiling much, some of the storyline NPCs seem to have an abhorrence towards Devilians, claiming that the human-devil hybrid is just evil and unnatural. This trope is reflected in further quests where you aren't viewed as doing the most righteous action to help a town or hub. This really contrasts a lot of modern MMOs where you act as the hero and savior of each hub, spreading your love from town to town as a slaughtering, homeless liberator. The game is dull for the initial quests. I was expecting dynamic events or some new feature to push the MMO scene. Instead, I was given an uninspired quest of kill X, gather Y, and talk to Z. This process is repeated over and over again. Fortunately, progression doesn't require any grind to continue with the story, and with the auto-run feature, I am never confused on where to go or what to do. PvP was one area of the game I was unable to review. I was never able to join into a PvP match since the feature was either disabled or there were not enough people attempting to queue to let a match start. However, I learned that you are always in devil mode while in PvP, and the scale of matches ranges from 3 to 3 to 20 vs 20 battlegrounds. Overall, the game offers a lot of entertainment options, and combat feels satisfying to play. I would recommend this game if you enjoy the traditional MMO questing and progression with the hack-and-slash combat feel of ARPGs. I would also recommend this game if you enjoy dungeons that do not revolve around the holy trinity of tanks, healers, and DPS. If you enjoy ARPGs such as Diablo, Torchlight, or Victor Braun, I would recommend this game as an alternative. If you like the perspective of ARPGs and enjoy PvP, I would also recommend this game since it seems to have a higher focus on PvP than most ARPGs. I would not recommend this game if you enjoy high levels of complexity in your character builds, lore-centric questing, or if you enjoy traditional MMO combat. Overall, the game is fun. Combat is fast-paced, and the environment is absolutely beautiful. As a free-to-play game, I really think that everyone should give it a shot since there's a lot of potential here to be explored. Thanks for watching, and have fun unleashing your inner demon.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOReporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOReporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.